I'll go with today's topic, and thank you all for joining for wonderful meditation. And thank you for the energies, my dear friends, that we have today. So let us go through today's topic, which is where I'm going to speak about the fourth chakra, which is the emotional power. And if anyone do not follow this series, friends, there is a playlist on YouTube where I'm reading this book, Anatomy of the Spirit, and all the stages have been already recorded there. Please go and watch. So I just start my journey with this fourth chakra. So as we have seen, the first chakra responds to the tribal group power, whereas the second chakra, we come one step further and we connect with others. And the third chakra is connecting with yourself. And the fourth chakra is connecting with your emotional power or healing your emotions, wounded emotions. So let us go through the introduction. So in the fourth chakra, it is the central powerhouse of the human energy system. So as we have seen, the middle chakra mediates between the body and the spirit and determines the body and spirit's health and strength. And fourth chakra is emotional in nature and helps propel our emotional development. So this chakra embodies the spiritual lesson that teaches us how to act out of love and compassion and recognize that the most powerful energy we have is love. So where is this location? As you all know, it is located at the center of the chest. So we have the energy connections in that we see for the physical body. So where is the energy connection in the physical body? So it is the heart and circulatory system, ribs, breast, thymus gland, lungs, shoulders, arms, hands, and diaphragm. Sorry to ask, friends, are you able to see my screen? If so, can anyone raise your hand so that I understand that you are able to see my screen? Or even a small message? Yes, okay. Thank you so much, Falagaru. Yeah, wonderful. So we now see the energy connection to the emotional body. And when it is to the emotional or mental body, so this chakra resonates to our emotional perceptions, which determines the quality of our lives more than our mental perceptions. So for example, as a children, we react to circumstances with a range of emotions, which is love, compassion, confidence, hope, despair, hate, envy, and fear. But as adults, we are challenged to generate within ourselves an emotional climate and steadiness from which we can act consciously and also with compassion. So this is also our challenge, because as a kids, we go through all these kind of things, but as an adult, it is our challenge to act consciously and with compassion. So what is the symbolic connection? So more than in any other chakra, the fourth one represents our capacity to let go and let God. So with its energy, we accept our personal emotional challenges as extensions of a divine plan, which has its intent on our own conscious evolution. By releasing our emotional pain or by letting go of our need to know why things happened as they are, we reach a state of tranquility. So in order to achieve that inner peace, however, we have to embrace the healing energy of forgiveness and release our lesser need for human and self-determined justice. And we see the connection. So as we have discussed earlier, there is this, in the book Anatomy of the Spirit, Carolyn have combined three traditions, which is the chakras, the sephiroths, and the sacraments. So the Sephiroth connection is called Tiferet. In the Sephiroths, there are 10 names where you can see each for each thing at the center of each location, there is one Sephiroth or two Sephiroths mentioned. So here the Sephiroth is called Tiferet. So it is a symbolic of the beauty and compassion within God. And this energy represents the heart of the divine and endless pouring forth of the nurturing life force. And the sacrament of marriage is a congruency to this energy of the fourth chakra. So with marriage also represents, as we have discussed also in our previous sessions, this represents a bond with oneself, the internal union of self and soul. I think this is the perfect for all of us. When we have to know about this fourth chakra, we have to understand the internal union. We have to create, not even understand we have to create a union of the self and the soul. And the challenge inherent in the fourth chakra is similar to that of the third, but is more spiritually sophisticated. So third chakra focus on our feelings about ourselves in relation to the physical world, while the fourth chakra focus on the feelings about our inner world. So our emotional response to our thoughts, our ideas, attitudes, and inspirations, as well as the attention we give to our emotional needs. And this level of commitment is the essential factor of forming the healthy relationship with others. And what are the fears we have in this chakra? So the primary ones are the loneliness, commitment, and following one's heart, or the fear of inability to protect oneself emotionally, or fear of emotional weakness, or fear of betrayal. So when you lost this fourth chakra, when you lost the energy here, you can also rise it to jealousiness or bitterness or anger, hatred, and also like we don't tend to forgive others. We do not have the ability to forgive others when we lost the energy in our fourth chakra. And the primary strength is love, forgiveness, compassion, dedication, inspiration, hope, trust, and the ability to heal oneself and also the others. This is ability to heal oneself and also others. This is truly divine. And the sacred truth is love is divine power. So while intelligence or the mental energy is considered superior to emotional energy, actually, emotional energy is a true motivator of the human body and spirit, and love is its purest form. Unconditional love is the substance of the divine, with its endless capacity to forgive us and respond to our prayers, in other words. Our own hearts are designed to express beauty, compassion, forgiveness, and love. It is against our spiritual nature to act otherwise. So we are not born fluent in love, but spend our life learning about it. Its energy is pure power. We are as attracted to love as we are intimidated by it. We are motivated by love, controlled by it, inspired by it, healed by it, or destroyed by it. So love is the fuel of our physical and spiritual bodies. So with each lesson, we see where the healing can also happen the place. I will let you know why I have kept this image. So we see in this chapter how we learn the power of love. So here, love has such a power. We come to know this energy in stages here. So each stage presents a lesson in love's intensity and forms. Where it can be like forgiveness, compassion, generosity, kindness, caring for oneself and others, as we have seen in the strengths. So the stages are as follows. The first one, as we have described in the first chakra, so the love starts within our tribe or within our group or within our society, and also from our family members. And this tribal love can be unconditional, but it generally communicates the expectation of loyalty and tribal support. So in a way, in the tribal setting, love is an energy that is shared among one's own kind. And then from second chakra, what we tend to grow is we learn the bonds of friendships, and love grows to include outsiders. And we express love through sharing with and caring for others to whom we are not connected through blood. And as our third chakra awakens, we discover love of external things, of our personal, physical, and material needs, which may include athletics, academics, fashion, dating, occupation, home, body, whatever. So all these chakras involve love in the external world. So what the thing is, at one point of time in our civilization, all these practices of love were all that life requires. And very few people only act on all the three layers, all the three stages. But love helps us to heal others and ourselves. So let us see a story which is given by Jack here. So there was a guy called Jack, and he started a business venture along with his cousins, and he kept, he took money also from his friends, and he kept all his money without having any savings to him in the business venture. And somehow he got cheated by the people, or yes. And eventually he went into a turmoil that he was unable to bear all those kind of things, and he went into a deep depression stage. And in that, he was unable to come out. He was unable to forgive other people at all, totally. And then when he met Carolyn, even he liked to be in that state of not forgiving them, but at the same time, he was not coming out. But then his wife jumped up and said that he needs to forgive himself before he forgive others. So that's how his wife helped him in the healing pattern. And that's why here what Carolyn says is, love helps us heal others and also ourselves. So his wife is his support there in order to make him understand that there is also life in future. And both of them have started venture again, and they were very successful. So that's how once we get healed, then the things will happen automatically. And the thing is about understanding and how we give our helping hand also to others. So that's what this is all about. And if you all have seen this movie, which is Frozen, first part, every one of you also will understand why I have kept this image, because through love, she has saved also her another sister. So it's again, she have healed herself, and also she have healed her sister. So if anyone haven't seen that movie, please watch it. And if you watch it, you will understand the power of love once again. And now we'll know about loving oneself as the path to the divine. So we all have expressions that, if we can't love ourselves, then we cannot love others anymore. And these are all the common words. But for many people, loving oneself remain as a difficult challenge because we act in material ways. Like, for example, for someone feels very much satisfied if they go for shopping or if they go for an vacations. They feel happy, but rewarding oneself with all those trips or toys of these are all, like all these kind of pleasures, this all belongs to the love, which belongs to the third chakra, but not the fourth chakra. This is what we have to understand. While this type of reward is also enjoyable, it can obstruct our contact with the deeper emotional stirrings of a heart that emerge when we need to evaluate a relationship or a job or other troubled circumstances that affects our life. Loving oneself as a fourth chakra, and its challenge means to have the courage to listen to the heart's emotional messages and spiritual directives. So most of us, we do the same. If somewhere we gets disturbed, we tend to take a break and go away and have some other pleasures on the other side. But how we are also listening to those emotional messages and how we are healing ourselves is most important thing, especially, and that sort of love is the one which belongs to the fourth chakra. And the archetype to which the heart most frequently guides us for healing is that of the wounded child. So every one of us have a wounded child in us, because there might be painful memories or the negative attitudes or some difficult patterns that the way we grew up, everything exists always in our life. So as an adult, we need to find that wounded child within us. Like, for example, unknowingly, we may continue to operate with all these patterns as adults. Although we do not know, we start somewhere or the other in a new form. So fear of abandonment, for example, it becomes jealousy. Or even a child's negative self-image can later become a source of dysfunction such as anorexia, obesity, alcoholism, and other addictions, as well as obsessive fear of failure. And these patterns can damage our emotional relationships, our personal and professional lives, and also, for sure, our health. And loving oneself begins with confronting this archetypal force within the psyche. And if these kind of patterns are unhealed, then wounds always keep us living in the past. We dwell always in the past. So there is also a story which is given by Caroline here. There is a guy called Derek. He's a businessman. He's a 37 and he attended Caroline's workshop to resolve some of the painful childhood memories. And Derek had been severely abused as a child and repeatedly beaten and denied food when he was hungry. He was also forced to wear shoes that were too small for him as a form of punishment. And Derek left home after he graduated from high school, put himself through college, and then went into sales. So by the time he met Caroline, he was already married and he had 2 children. But what he said is, at the time there was a time that came for him to deal with his childhood memories, which until then he had managed to keep at a distance along with his parents. So Derek's father passed away at the time when Derek met Caroline, and his mother was eager to regain some kind of contact with Derek. But Derek denied to see his mother because of his painful childhood memories or the painful parenting. And at first, Derek's mother denied any abuse, but eventually put the blame entirely on his father for the few incidents that she did manage to recall, and saying that if she had realized Derek was so unhappy, she would have done something. So then she became emotional and asked Derek how he could treat her so harshly, given that she had only recently become a widow. So this is fairly typical response of an abusive parent who is confronted by an adult child. And Derek listened intently to the lecture of Caroline on individual and tribal memories, and he did not believe his parents to be evil people. So he told Caroline that maybe he didn't realize the consequences of what they were doing. So almost by the end of the workshop, Derek said that he had been given a great deal to think about and was grateful for what the lecture has been given for. And after 4 or 5 months after the workshop, Derek sent a notice that he harbored the harsh memories and he chose to believe that his mother's return into his life will be an opportunity to show her through his own marriage and parenthood a more loving way of life. He started to see his mother regularly and believed that someday soon all would be well. So this kind of story speaks a healing guidance that comes from the Sephira of Tiferet, which we already have seen, and which told him that he needed to reconsider his emotional memories. As it always does for all of us, this guidance came at the time when Derek was mature enough to act. So following our preventive intuitive guidance here is the highest form of preventive health care. So everyone's intuition or intuitive system works. It is very rare for some people that who do not work, but it is really very rare. And healing is always possible through the acts of forgiveness. And in the life, for example, so here Carolyn also have given the the example from Jesus. So what Jesus did is Jesus always healed his patients' emotional sufferings, and the physical healing then followed naturally. So while Jesus' healings have been interpreted by many theologians and school teachers as a divine reward for the recipient's confession of misbehavior. So, forgiveness is an essential spiritual act that must occur in order to reopen oneself fully to the healing power of love. So, here we always think self love means nurturing ourselves. Yes, it is nurturing ourselves, but at the same time, we should also care for ourselves enough to forgive people in our past so that the wounds can no longer damage us. And for our wounds do not hurt the people who hurt us. So releasing our attachment to these wounds enables us to move from the childlike relationship with the divine of the first three chakras into one in which we participate with the divine in acting out of love and compassion of the fourth chakra. So the fourth chakra energies are really the spiritual maturity. And we should always think of the beyond. We have to forgive ourselves and also the others, and then we have to act with spiritual maturity. And we have to treat, at some point of the time, we have to heal our wounded child within ourselves.
There are stages also for the power of love, where the love is unconditional, and always love helps us heal others and also ourselves. So if you see in the previous sessions, I also have provided with some examples about the power of love, and how also we have to heal the wounds today. There are also some steps that Carolyn have given to us, so which we'll see in the next slides. So today I'm going to speak about like how we have to awaken our conscious self. So just a minute. Yes. Um, so uh, just 1 second, my dear friends. Sorry. Yes. The thing is, while we have to awaken the conscious self, we need to have a relationship with ourselves first. And if you all remember in the previous sessions, I think almost in every session I keep on saying that Carolyn always have combined the three traditions, which is the chakras, and which is the Christian sacraments and the Kabbalah tree of life, or the sephiroths, in the tree of life. So even in that, the sacrament is called marriage. So marriage means which is a union with oneself. It's not, she was not referring about the physical marriage that is happening with others, but she was mentioning rather that we have to maintain we have to create that relation with ourselves first. And like that's where we connect also to our soul. And the thing is, even if we have someone, or if we do not have someone, the thing is what always, like, for example, for the persons who move to fourth chakra, they always will be thinking like, what do I like, what do I love, what makes me happy, what are my strengths, all these kind of questions. But what makes me happy, these are related to habits. For example, when it comes to fourth chakra, so for example, like, buying a car makes me happy, but that is the desire, which is a wanting of the third chakra, but it's not the fourth chakra. So when it comes to fourth chakra, your heart and soul combines into one, and that is the essence of the fourth chakra, which is the power of love. And also, if for example, if we are if it is like let's say the tribal mind, then the questions will be like, what do I like in relation with others, how I have to uh, how I how strong can I be while still remaining attractive to others, and what do I need from others in order to be happy, or what will I have to change about myself in order to get someone to love me. These are the questions that comes in the tribal chakra or the second and third chakra, but we are moving beyond, right? So we move from the tribal consciousness, so everything happens one at a time. And here, the meeting the self activates the transformation of human consciousness. So, and this is what will happen to everyone. So everyone have to meet the self, and this will be the transformation of the human consciousness. So this is about like awakening the conscious self. And now we will see moving beyond the language of wounds. So before I come to this chapter, the thing is, we have here, the thing is like we have to activate our inner self. And what will happen is, when we activate the inner self, um, we will create a connection with ourselves, and with that inner connection, we also awaken all the fears. Which means, like, to say, the healing happens. And at the same time, that's where our challenge is also to overcome our wounds in the past. So that's what Carolyn mentions here. And we see now, when we move to the language, when we move beyond the language of wounds, what happens is, like, for example, in the first, second, or third chakra issues, there will be like names, place of origin, works, hobbies, and so on, like ethnicity and so on. But the fourth chakra culture will be like, let's say the language will be like woundology. So in this woundology, okay, let me give an example here. Carolyn have given an example here. So Caroline is having a workshop, and after that she was having a coffee with two men. And that's where, like, when Mary also arrived, and then Caroline have introduced Mary to also these two men. And simultaneously, another man approached this group to ask Mary if she was free on June 8th, because their community was expecting a special guest, and they needed someone to escort this guest around the campus. So the question was, are you free on June 8th? And for such kind of questions, the answers will be simply like yes or no. But the thing is, Mary have responded in a way like, June 8th? Did you say June 8th? Absolutely not. Any other day, but not June 8th. June 8th is my incest survivors workshop, and we never let each other down. We are committed to supporting each other, and no matter what, we are there for each other. Absolutely not the day. You will have to find some other person, blah, 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 blah. And, by saying such kind of audacious answer to the someone who kept a simple question, the guy was like, the guy just left the conversation and went off, but the other two was spellbound with the response that she have given. And I do not know how many of you know about the incest, friends. Incest means like it's a sexual abuse which happens between the close family members. So it's a nightmare for the one who undergoes that kind of pain. And what the thing happened now is Carolyn, when everyone left, Carolyn took Mary to some other place, and she started to ask why you have given such kind of audacious answer. And then she was like, I'm an incest survivor. But the thing is, if she was a survivor, she also needs to give her best to come out of the such situations. I mean, the healing should happen place. And we all need to understand that if healing happens, then such kind of situation or becomes an experience. It's no more a healing or a or a or a situation that someone needs to show sympathy for. So that's what Carolyn mentioned. But this lady, instead of coming out of the situation, she wanted to linger in the pain. So it makes her comfortable. And that's the reason, from then onwards, she left Carolyn and the two got split off. From then, they never have seen. So what we have to understand here is, we have to overcome the situations in our life and we have to heal, because healing is completely a personal job. And also the other thing is, when situations happen, also we are raised in a society that if something happens, someone needs to show the sympathy on us. And for some people, sympathy is their food. And without such kind of sympathies, they can't live. And that is not the correct thing. I mean, in this process, they don't get healed and they make others also responsible in this kind of pattern. And at the same time, the process of healing, they were delaying also the process of healing, or to let go of such kind of situations happened in their lives. And if we also have any friends or someone in our life, if we have the bond that we have shared some incidents to them, which means the other friend, instead of showing sympathy, the other friend also needs to give their power, that the suffered ones also will come out of it. So we will see the steps here, friends. So, and the first thing, in order to come out of these wounds, is we should make a commitment to heal ourselves. And without a schedule for healing, we risk becoming addicted to what we think of as support and compassion. And we find ourselves believing we need more and more time to process our wounds. And because the supportive response feels so long overdue, support group members frequently hold on to it with a passion that suggests, I'm never leaving here, because this is the only place where I have ever found support. There is no support for me in the ordinary world. So I will therefore live in process and among people who understand what I have been through. And the problem with such support systems is the difficulty of telling someone that he or she has had enough support and needs to get on with the business of living. So in many ways, this problem reflects our skewed understanding of compassion. And for example, a compassion is a fourth chakra emotion, and is also one of the spiritual energies contained in the Sephirah of Tiferet. And this is the strength to honor another's suffering while bringing power back to one's life. See, such a beautiful statement, my dear friends. So when we show compassion, it should also be like a strength. So it should honor another's suffering instead of showing sympathy. And this honoring should bring back power into one's life. Isn't it amazing? That's how we all have to be. And here, to be healed means to be fully self-contained, always positive, always happy, always sure of oneself, and never needing anyone. No wonder few ever consider themselves healed. So healing, we have to make a commitment to ourselves, my dear friends. And now we'll see the path to the empowered heart. So here, Carolyn, in the previous slide, Carolyn have described about the wounds, but here in this slide, we will know about the steps that she have mentioned in this book. So as we all know that healing sounds to be simple, but it is not easy. And there are few steps, yet they demand great effort. And the step one is commitment. So commit yourself to healing all the way to the source of the pain. And this means turning inward and coming to know your wounds. So when you turn inward and knowing your wounds means like identifying. So which is nothing but step two. So here you have to identify what kind of wounds are still present in your existing period or existing life, and just only witness them, and also witness how their influence is there in your development. And you need at least one person, for example, a therapist or a friend perhaps, who is capable of working with you in this way. And the third one is verbalize your words. And once we do this, we will observe how we use them to influence or even control the people around us as well as ourselves. So here the thing is, when we start verbalizing, we will understand what kind of language we are using for a wound. For example, we say if there is a wound existing and we keep on saying to someone like, okay, it is existing from long time, it is not going anywhere, I'm so used to it. So this is not healing for sure. Healing is a commitment along with a miraculous thinking. So which means verbalizing your your wounds, or changing the vocabulary means changing your dialect of how you speak or how you treat such kind of wounds, or how you welcome the new life. As I said in the previous session, in such kind of situations, we linger somewhere in a comfort zone, and we have to come out of that comfort zone, and that is not so easy. That's where this commitment comes up. And the next thing is we have to identify good from our wounds. For everything, my dear friends, for everything, there are two sides. One will be the positive side and one will be the negative side. And the thing is, the negative impact will be shown immediately. But the positive impact, it might take like several days or weeks or months or even years. The thing is, you just need to wait with some patience. And also you need to identify what happened, because this was also speaking about the past. So always start with the past of what good that you have identified from your wounds. And also there is a saying that fake it until you make it. So which means like, all these visualization practices and so on, these will help to heal in this way, or to even identify good, because you're again changing the vocabulary, you're transforming your vocabulary into a positive direction. And even if you fake it, that will happen. So initiate a spiritual practice and stick to it. Do not be casual about your spiritual discipline. And the next thing is forgiveness. So once you established a consciousness of appreciation, you can take a challenge of forgiveness. So as appealing as forgiveness is in theory, it is an extremely unattractive personal action for most people, mainly because the true nature of forgiveness remains misunderstood. Forgiveness is not the same as telling the person who harmed you it's okay, which is more or less the way most people view it. Rather, forgiveness is a complex act of consciousness, one that liberates the psyche and soul from the need for personal vengeance and the perception of oneself as a victim. So what Carolyn have mentioned is, sometimes we will be a victim unconsciously. And how we treat ourselves, how we forgive ourselves, how we establish a soul connection with ourselves. This is all forgiveness. I mean, in order to maintain that, somewhere or the wounds one by one, you will be removing the wounds, and this is where it is. So more than releasing from blame the people who caused our wounds, forgiveness means releasing the control that the perception of victimhood has over our psyches. And the liberation that forgiveness generates comes in the transition to a higher states of consciousness. And this is what we all have to attain, my dear friends. And the sixth step is think love. Live in appreciation and gratitude. Invite change into your life, if only through your attitude, and remind yourself continuously of the message of all spiritual masters' worth. And keep your spirit in the present time. So, in the language of Jesus, leave the dead and get on with your life. And the Buddha said there is only now. So friends, if you also have seen No Death session from Patriji, he also mentioned the same things here. Leave the dead and get on with your life, and there is only now. So although how harsh or how easy the words remain, but the thing is, when you deal with love, that's where you will understand the beauty of how the transformation is happening in yourself. So this is what, friends, and finally the love is divine power. So I have to say that the only path toward spiritual consciousness is through the heart. That truth is not negotiable. No matter what spiritual tradition one chooses as a means to know the divine, love is divine power. And this is it, my dear friends, in today's session. So again, the questions here for the self-examination is, what emotional memories do you still need to heal? I still remember some situations like where my masters have humiliated me, that I can't study good. By seeing such kind of things, when my masters say how good I study, I can never write. I mean, I still remember I used to not write even a single word in the examination. And again, these scoldings come back and back and back. So, so that's where, even these small kind of incidents, it will go in a long run if it doesn't get healed. So that's why you need to identify each and small thing, like what emotional memories do you still need to heal? What relationship in your life require healing? Do you ever use your emotional wounds to control people or situations? If so, describe them. I think these kind of things, we in the society we are grown up, we don't even know that somewhere or the other we are, with our wounds, we are also controlling the people in a way, like attracting or getting sympathy from others, or like sometimes, when someone says that I have this issue, someone will come and say, oh, that's it, I have even more bigger problem. These create even more situations in their lives. So that's why these emotional wounds, we need to understand how we are also making an impact. Now, please write down all these questions and answers for all these questions, and you will know what is really triggering us inside, and what is also stopping to heal ourselves. And if we identify, then that's where the first thing happened. So that's it for today, my dear friends. Thank you all for listening.